Look at the UVTV motherfucker. I'm in a kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. Oh God. Neon nigga fulfilling me. Yeah, and today we're gonna be talking about what happens to spirits who like to get drunk too much. So how to drown in a substance. Now just in general, right? It's like when it comes to eating and when it comes to drinking and stuff like that, that's like you indulging into something. So we like to feed, and from us liking to feed into things, right? It's like you fulfilling something. But if you don't know how to drain away from that, right? If you don't know how to drain away from whatever you just soaked up and absorbed, so you can fill it up again and stuff like that, you could basically going to lead to energies to you overfulfilling a cup or space, and it's going to start to overwhelm you, or it's going to overflow. You know what I'm saying? Because you done took it all the way up to the brim, it can't contain no more, so it's going to burst. It's going to burst. Basically, it's going to burst the bubble in itself and stuff like that, because you added too much into that. You added too much water. You added too much inside that container and stuff like that, to where it's going to overflow and it can't take up that much. So is either you going to have to put it in a bigger container, a bigger cup, or it's going to end up getting overflown and stuff like that. So look at that as like your emotions being all over the place and stuff like that, until it gets to a point to where it's not overflowing no more, and then you end up getting into that disposition state of being and stuff like that, to where things are more balanced again and stuff like that. But you had to crash out for a second. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that type of energies for the most part. And I mean like crash out in a bad way, not crash out in a good way. Y'all should know what I mean. So just in general, right? It's the same thing when it comes to feeding into something. It's the same thing when it comes to feeding into something and drinking water and stuff like that, right? You could, you know what I'm saying? It's a substance. So it's the same way how we see it in reality and stuff like that. Okay, we need water. But it's not about just water of like, oh, us drinking water like a liquid and stuff like that. I mean like drinking water as in like you soak it up into something and stuff like that. So that's like an emotional connection, or how y'all look at water signs. Them being the cardinal, the fixated, and the mutable and stuff like that. So it's basically you just soaking up or absorbing into something for the sake of emotional connection, and you trying to contain whatever expression that you in. So it's just like a substance. So it's a subconscious standing. How you gonna stand on something subconsciously before it becomes something of the conscious realm, something in the external realm. So in general, we like to feed, aka feed the beast and stuff like that. So you like to eat certain things. So look at that as eating thoughts or eating feelings. Feelings would be like the water or the drink, and then thoughts and ideas would be like the food and stuff like that. So we like to feed into certain thoughts and feelings to be fulfilled in it. But if those thoughts and feelings have something to do more with something that's monetary, or something that's not as fulfilling, right? Because it's like low hanging fruit, and it's not as juicy and enticing. It's not going to be long lasting to where you're going to feel the need to eat again and stuff like that, because you know what I'm saying, end up fulfilling your belly and stuff like that. That's like eating junk food for the most part. So for you, eating junk food is not really going to fulfill you, because it's still a whole bunch of different junk, and it's not something that's actually fruitful, or something that's more genuine, or something that's more pure from the earth and stuff like that, that comes up from the ground. You get into synthetic GMO version of what that is for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when spirits who like to overindulge or like to drink too much, so like drinking alcohol and stuff like that, is gonna have your functions be weakened and stuff like that. And we see that when it comes to people who like to overindulge into drinking alcohol all the time and stuff like that, to where their actual motor functions actually start to lessen on a percentage scale, right? And they start to be as unproductible, or they can't work as efficiently because they tipsy, or they high, or they drunk as fuck and stuff like that. They can't say things as coherently as they would if they was in a more clear or sober mind. So it's gonna cloud things up. So when you overindulge into that, keyword overindulge, and I'm not trying to say, I'm basically trying to put y'all in this mind state of, don't look at it as, oh, you should not drink in general. I'm trying to say when you overindulge into that, and I'm trying to put y'all in that state of being of what that is from a spiritual point of view, not just when you drink alcohol and stuff like that. Even though when a person who likes to overly drink alcohol, or they can't even function without getting some type of henny, or getting some type of, you know what I'm saying, getting some type of martini, getting some type of wine, getting some type of Grey Goose or whatever, getting some type of cut water, or like some things of that nature and stuff like that, they always feel the need, like, oh yeah, I need me a shot, oh yeah, I need me a couple of drinks. And then I'm like, yeah, that lets you know, you know what I'm saying, like they be overindulging when it comes to things spiritually speaking. And I'm trying to put y'all there so you can see those signs, And then if you see a person who actually is a drunkard or an alcoholic and stuff like that, right? They always feel the need to have some type of alcoholic substance in their system and stuff like that. Okay, spiritually speaking, they always feel the need to intoxicate themselves spiritually and mentally. So it's gonna make them act out intoxic characteristics, which makes them actually do that in reality, which makes them pick up the cup. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that made them pick up the cup. So alcohol is just an intoxicating, flammable liquid, like cocktails and stuff like that. And that's why they'll, you know what I'm saying? Like them, those flammable cocktails and stuff like that, Molotovs. That's the thing I was trying to think of. Like people who end up using alcohol for like Molotovs and stuff like that, and it can actually set things on fire in reality and stuff like that. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna explain that. But like, yeah, alcohol is just an intoxicating flammable liquid. Now, y'all be getting lost into just the reality version of what that is, but for that to actually be a substance in reality, there is some type of state of being of that in the spiritual realm based upon what the substance or the essence of what that is and stuff like that. So spiritually speaking, there is a thing such as that. So it's like how I was saying before with the food and water comparison and stuff like that. Oh yeah, we need food and we need to drink and things of that nature. So look at food as in you feed it into thoughts and feelings. So from you being into that state of being, right? That's like you intoxicating yourself into particular thoughts and feelings where you're overindulgent, and it's toxic for you to overindulge into that specific thought and feeling. So you can be drunk off of success and things of that nature. So being toxic is just something that's like poisonous, venomous, or deadly, aka something that's harmful for you. The same way how when you drink alcohol and stuff like that, it can fuck up your liver if you overindulge into drinking alcohol too much, and you basically don't do it in moderation. It start to fuck up your organs and your organism, and you actually replenish and make your organs. You make them be efficient and stuff like that. That's why people be on some, oh, you need to exercise or you need to eat more healthy, but y'all need to eat healthy when it comes to mentally speaking too. So look at that as you need to pay attention to the right things that's going to put you in that more productive state of being, instead of paying attention to things that's going to make you be in a more counterproductive, self-sabotaging, degenerate state of being. So yeah, like anything that's intoxicating is going to be harmful to you spiritually, mentally, all the way down to physically. So it's something that's impure or counterproductive. Now, it's a flammable liquid. So the flame represents like the fire, just like a fire sign. So anything that's flammable is just something that's sparked, or anything that's you can make light of. So the flame or the fire represents burning through whatever is grounded. So when you be seeing an actual fire, like a forest fire and stuff like that, it likes to burn the material. It like to burn through reality. It like to burn through the flesh and stuff like that, right? Okay, you do that from a spiritual nature. Look at that as someone who's on a vision. So based upon that vision, you know what I'm saying? They got that fire and desire and stuff like that. They got that passion in their eyes, the fire in their eyes that make them motivated to actually do whatever thing they want to do and stuff like that. And they ain't gonna give a fuck about the external realm and how it's being received and things of that nature, because they're in the internal realm and they trying to expand it. They trying to externalize it. They're trying to go the distance when it comes to that. So based upon the vision and the passion that they're in and stuff like that, they're just fired up. So for them being fired up and stuff like that, that's the flame. So it's burning through whatever is grounded, and you just want to be in that vision. And even if it's not grounded in reality yet, right? You want to be frequent in that thing of that foresight. A better way of how to put it, it's like a foresight. So based upon that foresight, that's just like you listen to your intuition, so to speak. So it's like you feeling the heat. If you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen. So it's something that's in high temperament. So the same way how it's hot as fuck right now in the summertime and stuff like that, based upon that mechanism. Okay, we're in the summertime right now, but the summertime is the accumulation of what happened in the springtime when things first start to heat up, and that's when things start to flower and bloom, and the seeds start to get germinated, the pollen be in the air and stuff like that, and it's gonna get the accumulation of hot weather. So you can be hot, spicy, enticing, the same way how you see a female and stuff like that, and you think she hot, spicy, and enticing and stuff like that. But it's a spiritual nature first. So you're in a high temperament. So from you being a high temperament, that's like you being above the horizon. That's like you being very intense or very passionate about something, and you able to make that fire, that desire, that expression be seen for the most part. So that's acting out in a high temperament. And if you low temperament or low vibrational, you lack that ability to be hot and fiery and enticing and stuff like that. It's hard for you to express. It's hard for your light to shine and things of that nature. So yeah, fire just represents like the same way when you shoot a gun and stuff like that. Okay, you gonna shoot. You gonna shoot the burner. You get it? So from you shooting the burner, you shooting a gun and stuff like that, you gonna attack. You gonna bombard. You like to explode. You like to blow something up. That's why when a new artist be coming out and stuff like that, oh yeah, they're the thing that's hot. They're the thing that's relevant at the moment. They're the thing that's currently going on. So based upon the current, the current is gonna create the currency. So you can see currently that's what they're doing. That's the current thing that's going on, and it was within the pocket, regardless if it was earlier or not. Right? They're currently what's hot right now. That's the thing that's more thriving. That's the thing that's more new. So they was able to attack this situation in a way to where uh it was more on the, you know what I'm saying? It was more on the perceiving end, not the receiving end. You need to be on that mechanism of going based upon first intent. You have to perceive so you can receive what you just perceived, not receive and be on the back end of what's being perceived by others for the most part. So you was able to attack the situation in a better light or a better way compared to somebody else just in general. So it's like you making light of something. So if you make light of something, you're not making it condensed, you're not making it heavy. So that's like emotional baggage. So that's like you carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders and stuff like that, and you shouldn't be doing that in general. You know what I'm saying? You need to learn how to make things more light, and that's you making light of the situation, but you also trying to emanate something and not get lost into the darkness. And darkness is just the accumulation of light. You know what I'm saying? So anything that's flammable, anything that's on fire and stuff like that, anything dealing with that type of energy is all that is. So you know how to excite. You know how to be enthused. You know how to entice. You know how to arouse certain emotions and stuff like that. You know how to arouse certain expressions and passions and stuff like that. And then alcohol is also a liquid, so it's like water. So a liquid, it's like you have a lot of liquid, so that's like you have a lot of money and stuff like that. But that's like you acting like that characteristic in the spiritual realm. So liquid just means you being fluid as in free flowing, and it's also transparent. Both fire and water are also transparent, so it's see-through. And from it being see-through, it's something that's free flowing, or it's quick, or it's wet. And from it being wet, you can absorb and soak into it. So it's not no thing like, oh, water is wet, because you ain't gonna look at water as wet until it start to splash on your clothes, and then your clothes start to absorb whatever you just got wet about. So it's the same way how a coochie get wet and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wet, but the only reason you look at that as wet is because it's absorbing into something, but it's just water being water. So yeah, having a lot of liquid is just you absorbing and soaking into a certain expression and learn how to consume into it, which leads into stuff like draining and sucking, and it being drained away for the most part. So once you become drunk, it's like I was saying before, being drunk off success and stuff like that, right? Or you being drunk off of happiness, you being drunk off of you know what I'm saying, like a blissful type of feeling. But you can also be drunk off of a lot of degenerate type of shit. You can also be drunk off of your own depression and things of that nature. So being drunk is being overcome and dominated by a intense feeling or emotion due to the immersion of intoxication, being drunk with success, or being predictably unpredictable for the most part. So it's like I was saying before about, oh, start to fuck up all your motor functions and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You can't think as clearly and coherently because you have that clouded judgment. So it's like you being predictably unpredictable. So the same way how you be drunk and stuff like that, and it's hard to control your bodily functions and things of that nature, is because you too drunk, or you too lost into that certain emotion and feeling, and you can't see it no other way. You can't have that spiritual discernment, and it's always like a dichotomy, this or that. So from you getting lost into an expectation, you being lost into a certain mind frame of how to look at it, you can't see beyond what you're immersed into. You can't see beyond that emotion and feeling that you're in. So that's why when you get drunk, you start to get in your feelings. All it is you got caught up in a certain pocket. You got caught up in a pocket of time. You got caught up in a memory. You got caught up in a connection. You got caught up in that emotional attachment and things of that nature. So it's not a thing to where it's like, oh, well, drunk is just gonna amplify sober thoughts because of this and the third. No, it's a thing to where, because you're not in a clear mind state, it's harder for you to control your emotions as much, in general. You know what I'm saying? We be seeing motherfuckers who be sober who act like that. But like overall, of what I'm trying to say is, it's not a thing where it's like, oh, it's like, oh, when you drunk, you saying what you really want to say because of this, that, and the third. No, it's really the other way around. You already wanted to say something like that, but you knew it wasn't that time to say that during the situation. And the only reason you was able to say that is because you drunk, because you got over immersed into that emotion and feeling, and you got in your feelings from you taking up all that substance and stuff like that. Even if you don't actually drink alcohol and stuff like that, you still see those same characteristics being played out and stuff like that. So look at that as you just reacted, or you put out that certain emotion and feeling when that was not the time to put out that emotion and feeling. So look at that as like, that's like you putting on a hot bubble coat and a fur coat during the summertime. It's hot as fuck, 90 degrees. Why the fuck you got that shit on? You know what I'm saying? Like, you acted out on a certain emotion and playing out certain characteristics when that was not the time to do that. That was not the right mentality to actually show up as and stuff like that. That's like you showing up for a job interview and stuff like that, right? And you trying to get hired, yet you dressing like how you dress at home and stuff like that. And you supposed to go into the interview at least looking somewhat decent. I don't know why you came to the interview in your pajamas and stuff like that. That wasn't the time to do that. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't even in the right mentality. You was flunked out about some whole other shit and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Why the fuck would they hire you when it look like you don't even give a fuck about trying to be hired because you're not trying to look professional in that world, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, in that world, is not that. You getting lost into a certain emotion or the way you work in your world and stuff like that. When you have to realize you trying to get hired so you can be a part of Americana money and bacon and stuff like that, so you can, you know what I'm saying, so y'all can so y'all can goddamn get rich and stuff like that, or you stop being broke. You got bills to pay, you got certain responsibilities and stuff like that. You trying to get some motion and stuff like that. Okay, you gonna end up getting a job based upon the way society is crafted up and stuff like that. But you have to get a job into their corporate world or the things they have available of, you know what I'm saying, like, until you actually get your own thing going on and you end up being your own boss, but you're not even there yet. You know what I'm saying? You are already trying to act on certain characteristics, and you're not even there yet. That was not the time to do that. You know what I'm saying? That was the wrong time. You said that shit way too early. You said that shit way too late or way too soon type shit. So being too drunk just leads to poor coordination, slurred speech, clouded judgment, and a lack of discernment. And discernment is just a discerning mentality. So you wasn't able to even out the odds, so to speak. You wasn't able to see it from the overall point of view. You know what I'm saying? You got lost into a certain expectation. You got lost into a certain dichotomy. AKA, look at that as you got stuck into a particular emotion and feeling, and now you in your feelings, and you don't know how to get out of your feelings to make another thought and idea, so you can see the overall point of view. So it's like acknowledging or having that empathy and stuff like that. Not sympathy, empathy. Oh, you have that awareness of how other people feel and stuff like that, right? But you're not getting too caught up into how they feel. You just are able to recognize it. You're aware of it, but you're not trying to get taken out of your perspective or your way of seeing it by trying to get too lost into the sympathy realm. You're not trying to be a scent for how they feel and just forget about how you feel, or look at the whole magnitude of how everybody feels and stuff like that. You only care about how they feel for the most part. So it's the same mentality when it comes to spiritual discernment. You in a space to where you're able to tell the difference between everything, and you're able to compartmentalize everything of what it is as a whole, not to try to cater to someone's feelings. And then that's it. You know what I'm saying? So once you get too drunk, you gonna end up acting all wild and shit. So from you being wild, it's like you being barbaric, or you being not domesticated, or you don't know how to tame those thoughts and feelings. And you're gonna end up being all over the place and uncivilized, which leads to energies of being unstable, unsatisfied, unfulfilled, right? It's like what I was saying earlier about the whole container type of energy, aka feminine type of energy, right? Of you trying to take care of your responsibilities, right? And take accountability for what you did, and you taking spiritual responsibility of the situation you put yourself in. You're always going to be unfulfilled because you're filling up the cup with too much, and you never actually dealt with that feeling and emotion, and it's always going to overwhelm you because it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's either going to lead to energies of you overfilling the cup, or it's going to lead to energies of you didn't actually fulfill that energy all the way. For the most part, it's that shortage, it's that lack thereof type of energy. you thought, oh, going out drinking with your friends and things of that nature was gonna help you distract you from dealing with your issues because of this, that, and the third. No, you still gonna get sober and have that hangover, and you're gonna be thinking like, damn, I'm still sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, also leading to disorders, so being disorganized, lacking the ability to make up your mind, so you're always going to be indecisive, and you're not trying to be certain about something regardless of how it looks in the external world, and then you can worry about the uncertainties or worry about the negatives after the fact. You just I'm trying to do this and I'm gonna act upon it, and then I can figure out how to be better received in that light later. You know what I'm saying? So you also gonna have a lack of good sense. Just look at good sense as positive sense. Just look at positive sense as being more progressive or above the horizon or seeing the whole scope of something, because we're trying to make things that are unseen and making it we're trying to take things that are unseen and making it be seen from an overall perspective. So once you try to see, you have to understand the whole template, like the whole blueprint, the whole manuscript, the whole mechanism and stuff like that. When you try to get caught up in a certain pocket of the mechanism and stuff like that, you never was able to finish what you started. You always gonna be in that lack thereof type of mentality, because you had that first intent of what you wanted to do, but you wasn't able to finish what you started, and you never get to that end conclusion and stuff like that, because you getting lost into the in-between portions and stuff like that, because something ain't go your way based upon your bias, and you was overindulgent. You was getting drunk off of whatever distraction that you was into. You was getting drunk off of that validation. You was getting drunk into that emotion and feeling at the time and stuff like that, which completely clouded your judgment of you getting to the end of the destination and stuff like that, based upon the different external references and programs and fear mongering things they have in the world, or different validations of, oh, it has to cater to the flesh, and that's what Walt Disney taught you, and that's what Sony taught you, and that's what Warner Bros taught you, and that's what TV and movies taught you to make it seem like it's important and stuff like that, when really they're just trying to put you in a institutionalized sob so you can't even be in their position. And then even if you is in their position, the way it got built up in the first place was based upon degenerate shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna make your ass act a fool. From you acting a fool, you basically gonna be tricking and misleading yourself, and you never learn how to lead and be the walking star, walking cross, walking representation of what that is, to actually be a celestial body or a heavenly body, to actually make your own atmosphere, the sphere at most, the world at most. You wasn't able to make your own world because you getting caught up in someone else's world, or you only getting caught up into a certain part of your world, you being drunk off your success or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So you need to learn how to drain or suck, or being able to take certain things in. You know what I'm saying? Swallow the what they call that? Having like a hard pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? You need to be able to swallow those hard pills and stuff like that, so you can fully take something in, contain it, so you could drain it and suck it away, right? And then learn how to think outside the box or outside the container, which just leads to you fulfilling the container or creating and building a whole nother container or cup or womb. And you're able to push the boundaries with something to where you can add more to that container, or add more to that circumstance, add more to that whatever domestic issue that you're caring about for the most part. And then that's really it.